past our start time, which usually we give a little bit buffer for people to join so that if you're having some technical issues, you're able to mitigate those. So, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good morning, I guess, for people who are joining from the East Coast of US, and good afternoon, and good morning, and good evening, depending on where you're joining from in the time zone. So I would like to welcome each one of you to the next in series of APPNA webinars, and APPNA is the Association of Pakistani Physicians in North America, and we are doing it under the MERIT subcommittee, which is Medical Education, Research, and Transfer of Technology. My name is Sarfraz Hasni. I'm a physician scientist and a rheumatologist at the National Institutes of Health here in Bethesda, Maryland. And joining me are the panelists, Dr. Uzair and Dr. Akhtar Hamid. We do these seminars every 2 weeks where we try to bring people from uh, uh, different academic institutes in Pakistan or from the diaspora here and try to lay out the research landscape and see if we are able to have some collaborations or at least to have this knowledge out there to inculcate transfers of technology and research collaboration. All of our webinars are available on the YouTube channel. So right after this webinar is done, you can always go to YouTube channel and can watch today's talk or any talk in the past if you are interested in a specific topic. In addition, we also have a WhatsApp group of digital library where we have put all the resources related to clinical research, and we can put the link in the chat. If you have not joined the digital library, please do so. It's a valuable resource for all of you to use, and if you're interested in research and transfer of technology. So with this brief plug-in, it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker is Dr. Babar Saeed Khan, who is the Director of Clinical Trials Unit at the National University of Medical Sciences. He's a highly accomplished physician and a clinical research expert with over 30 years of experience in healthcare and public health. He is a certified principal investigator and has led numerous health initiatives globally, collaborated with WHO, and also served as CEO of major health organizations. He's a fellow of American Physicians of Clinical Research and founding president of ACRP Ambassadors Club Pakistan. He's currently the director, as I just mentioned, of the CTU at NUMS, and where he's focusing on advancing clinical research with rigorous ethical standards. His expertise and dedication to public health make him a distinguished speaker in this field. So with that, I welcome and thank Dr. Babar Saeed Khan for taking time out of his busy schedule to talk to us, to provide his insights on the clinical research landscape of Pakistan in reference to his institute. Dr. Babar Saeed, thank you so much, and please go ahead.
Well, thank you very much for very elaborate interview. The simplest introduction of mine is that I'm trying to justify my existence. That's it. Trying to contribute in whatever way I can to the humanity in large, and of course my country people. I'll start my presentation with a disclaimer, of course, the usual one. There's no financial or no conflict of interest things sharing. The agenda which we will be discussing today will revolve around the clinical trial landscape in Pakistan, how things have globally are moving, and how Pakistan is taking it. And after that, we will be, in fact, share a little discussion about the learning and literacy and education, because that is something which is very close to my heart. And then the evolving concept of multiversity, because nowadays the concept of university and multiversity is really very much in discussion. And why I'm doing it, because my friend Dr. Uzair asked me to do the justice of introducing the one of the biggest university in Pakistan, NUMS, National University of Medical Sciences. So that part was because of that. And of course, we'll close with the comments and observations and questions. Folks, you understand that basically clinical research, as and I described, the three components. human subjects. It's clinical, so whenever things are beyond the lab and beyond the animal, that is of course the human engagement, and that is where the clinical research is. And there are assigned interventions. It can be interventional, it can be observational, and basically the health related biomedical or behavioral outcomes is that what I see in clinical trials. Clinical trials basically they do empower participants, and that is important because the newer concept of health promotion is that every individual who's suffering from any illness or any ailment is needing much more information about their own diseases. So the participants are empowered with the information which they get while they are in a trial. Then, of course, they're having access to the innovative treatments. Lots of new things are coming up, and at times people are desperate to get some real good treatment modality, and this offers the clinical trials offers that modality to these people. Um, when somebody is engaged in a clinical trial, then they are special people. We do remember while in US, I mean, all the patients who were registered in clinical trials, they got some extra attention. So specialized medical care is there with these people who are enrolled in the trials, and it basically improves the prognosis of the disease which they're suffering from. And of course, having said all these things, there is constant advancement in the medical knowledge, which is a very important thing. All of us, all the clinicians, all the medical experts, all the researchers needs to look into. It identifies optimal treatment, and basically in the diagnostics, if we see that there are lots of we are uncovering new biomarkers as well for the screening and then tracking treatment efficiencies. Um, End of the day, the total outcome is basically the enhanced healthcare infrastructure by which we are in a better position to serve people. Clinical trials, as we are seeing, there's much lift in the numbers because, I mean, in last 15, 20 years, numbers have exponentially growth. We're seeing that in 2019 to 20, the WHO platform, they registered 7,44,100 clinical trials, which is huge. If you look at the numbers around 2000, it was just few thousand, and now hundreds of thousands trials in these 20 years. So the trend of getting into the this is kind of evolution of medicine where we are trying to come up with newer treatment modalities, newer investigational medicinal products. Most of the trials we are seeing, they're being conducted in the developed world and in USA and in Europe predominantly. But now we are seeing that whole world is getting engaged in that. Most of the trials, almost three-fourths of them, they are interventional trial, and almost one-fourth are observational trials. And US is the place where most of the trials are being conducted. And now the challenge is that there is not much representation of lower and middle income countries in these trials, and that is because of multiple problems or multiple limitations. There is the diversity and the engagement of the people from different countries is when it's not there, then it is causing the limitation in the understanding and the trust and faith on the developing medicine, and as a result, the overall outcome of the clinical trial is not very much appreciated. Uh, Shortage of trained researchers and limited infrastructures, and of course the economic strains. They are there in lower and middle income countries. That was basically the challenge, and these were the challenges. The trial outcomes may not fully address the unique health needs. That's another thing, which is basically if we specifically address some specific geographies, some specific ethnicities or races or regions, then probably that is not addressing the specific needs, which is again a challenge. And benefit of diverse global community were not being attained as most of the research was happening at the developed countries. So these were the challenges which basically were keeping the clinical research on the sides of the developed countries. But we are seeing a shift now. I mean, that shift is if you see the figures here, that in last 10 years, almost 300 plus % growth in the clinical trials happening in developing and in the lower middle income countries. This shift in the clinical trial market towards developing countries is 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 uh, is delivering some very good results. How? Because the cost efficiencies. Right now, every industry, every economic entity is having issues with the economy. So cost is of course an important component, an important entity which basically is influencing the success or failure of any industry. So cost efficiency is there while we are here in the lower and middle income countries. Then because of the higher population, the recruitment is easier and quicker. Uh, uh, we remember when we used to deal with some rare diseases or some even in common diseases. It was difficult to find out the eligible subjects because of the limitation of the number of people. But when we are looking at these countries which are having most of the population of the globe, almost 70-80% population is here. And because of large number of treatment naive patient population, which is of course the strength which is every sponsor is looking forward to have. And that is one important reason that this shift is being observed. uh, Other than that, there is the prevalence of the disease is more. I mean, if we look at the uh, be that non-communicable diseases, be that infectious diseases, they both are more prevalent in the lower and middle income countries. So because of all these reasons, shift we are observing constantly towards the lower and middle income countries. Then, of course, as the people are here in these countries, the big corporations, they're looking for expansion of the market. So when the people are there, they're sick, they need some medication. So that's an opportunity for the corporations as well to come up and explore newer markets for their and to cater their regional needs too. And of course, the broader genetic environmental diversity. I remember, I mean, whatever study we are conducting, I've been, investigating in almost 72 protocols in US, but the subjects are most of the time white people. Almost 65 to 70% of the total enrollment was that from the white people, and that actually was lacking the diversity, the genetic makeup, the social background, the dietary and other environmental factors. They all are very limited to that particular community. So this broader genetic and environmental diversity is giving a good solid strength to the clinical trials when they're shifting towards the lower and middle income countries. Uh, if we see at the implication of this shift, then the LMICs do have the access on the cutting edge of the treatments modalities which are coming and being offered by the developing corporations. And now there's greater focus on local disease burden and health needs too, because if we look at the resurgence of the tuberculosis, if you see at the metabolic disease, diabetes prevalence here, so the local disease burden is also being addressed. That's the advantage. And ethical considerations and emphasis on suitable and community centered research. This is easier, much easier, and much organized now as compared to the previous years. If we focus, come to the Pakistan, because the landscape of clinical research of Pakistan is what very close to the heart of all of us. A big population and evolving and developing infrastructure, and of course the capacity in terms of infrastructure, in terms of human resource, in terms of equipment availability. We do see now institutions getting the certifications from the top bodies which do accredit the healthcare institutions. Like JCI has already certified 4 or 5 centers in Pakistan. So things are coming up. Plus, of course, all the other international standard organizations, ISOs, and other quality standards. We are having a good increase in the understanding and in the investment on that particular part, and of course with the result of those accreditations. Now I would be specifically addressing Pakistan, because we just had a cursory glance on the international picture, and then in the region, and then now, of course, Pakistan. We all know that population is a big thing here, and fifth most populous country Pakistan is now. And we do have, this is a young and expanding population of over 250 million people. It can be a real big hub for the diverse therapeutic areas. The other thing is that in Pakistan we have this triple burden of the disease. I mean, apart from non-communicable and communicable diseases, the injuries is also increased quite a bit. I mean, the conservative estimates which different societies and different institutions are conducting about the prevalence of some common diseases. The commonest here in Pakistan, diabetes. Adult population conservative estimate reveals that almost every fourth person in the adult population is now glucose intolerant. So that is a huge number. People with a country with over 250 million people. If we see the per unit population, diabetes population, we are among the top countries in the world in Pakistan. Similar is the situation with the cardiovascular diseases. If you see 918 per 100,000 people, I mean, these all are referenced figures, and the death rate is 357 of 100,000. So if we look at the emerging non-communicable diseases, there is a big load, and cardiometabolic and other clinical trials. This is the place where I mean the prevalence is so high. So availability of the subjects and availability of the desired patient population is there for sure. About the communicable diseases, if you see, in every season, be that the flu season or any other infection, we are seeing the resurgence of tuberculosis. So newer trials are coming here for the MDR, multiple drug resistance TB cases, and similarly we have the other infectious diseases and communicable diseases also, which are pretty prevalent here, and a good number of suitable treatment naive patient population, which for sure can lure the sponsors and the CROs to come and have the trials done here. If you see at the injuries and trauma as well, then they have surged in last 20 years, almost 50% surge in the prevalence of the traumatology as well. So if we look at the all the canvas of the morbidities and mortalities, Pakistan is really I mean, it's not a, it's something which is really hurt, I mean, any clinician, but that's a fact that we have a population which is prone to multiple diseases, and thus which is very nice and good place for experiments and for clinical trials to be conducted here in Pakistan. The other thing in Pakistan is that the healthcare infrastructure is now advancing. I do visit a very good hospital even in Faisalabad. I mean, you go to Hyderabad, even the second tier cities, you see some very good institution in Multan, some good institution which are really concerned about quality of care, which are concerned about developing the infrastructure the way it should be, which are concerned about the standards even at the construction. We remember when we started a career in medicine here in Pakistan, the one of the top university, medical university, the first university, I would say, Bakai University, because I was related to that as well, some time. It started in a house, in just a home, and that became a medical university. So the concept of building hospitals or healthcare industry or healthcare services at some home places was the practice. But now we are seeing that the purpose-built buildings with all the required criterias and the standards which are required to build those things, that is there, which is very good to see. The recent estimates of Pakistan Economic Survey, they reveal that 8.7% increase in registered medical professionals. All the healthcare professionals we are seeing that there's new regulatory bodies as well, the allied health services, which are now regulating the not only the nurses, Pakistan Nursing Council, PMDC is the undergrad medical students, and now the allied council, which is taking care of all the technologies, all the technicians as well. So even the manpower is also produced. Efforts are there to match that with the requirement. Though we still lagging far behind, but effort for sure is there. Uh, in Pakistan, by as of March 2023, 2,231 clinical trials were registered. Um, uh, and some of the trials in Pakistan were registered in Iran and in their registry, and in Australia and New Zealand as well. So the trend is setting up. I'm seeing a lot of new graduates from the medical side, from the dental side, from the pharmacy side. So they're coming in and picking and choosing the clinical trial as their preferred profession. Um, One very heartening and good thing is that, I mean, the DRAP has scored more than 100 approved sites. Though the criteria is very stringent, and they're really, I mean, they're quite tight in getting the sites approved for conducting clinical trials, but the mark has crossed 100, and it's now almost 103 clinical trial sites and 5 B.A.B. laboratory sites in Pakistan. So the regulatory bodies are also encouraging the institutions to build these clinical trial sites. Then, of course, access to technology is also as being observed quite substantially. Now, if you see the regulatory support, and that's another component in Pakistan, that regulatory support and growing expertise at this point in time, 5,000 plus are full-time health researchers, which are working only for the research. And there are different societies in different subjects like oncology or neurology or nephrology, and they're also, these societies are also encouraging and pushing the research. And of course, the field epidemiology and laboratory training, that's a joint initiative by the CDC USA and our ministry and NIH. So these kind of things which are coming up to help and facilitate the development of the human resource and the infrastructure, and of course the institutions for getting answers to the research questions. Regulatory support. If I continue with that, with the Pakistan situation here, we have two bodies, the National Bioethics Committee, NBC, and the DRAP. These two bodies are predominantly taking care of the clinical trials in terms of regulatory side, and their good thing is that things which are evolving in these two institutions, plus they do recognize the clinical trial decisions as made by the authentic bodies like FDA and EMA and MHRA, etc. There is a reciprocity, is not reciprocity, but they do follow the DRAP, and the regulatory bodies do follow the best practices which are prevailing in other parts of the world. Timelines have substantially decreased, and that was a question. I mean, I remember. I mean, there was a clinical research expert meeting called by WHO and Ministry about 4 months back, and it was a very open and candid discussion in which all the stakeholders of the research were sitting together. There were almost 42 people were there, and including the regulatory people from DRAP and from NBC, and from the sponsors, from the CROs, from the CTUs, from the academia, of course, ministry were there, and then WHO was there. And I saw observed a very positive and encouraging stance from the regulatory bodies. Many of us are having issues with the regulatory bodies in terms of the time and the duration. But things are moving forward, maybe not at the pace which all of us try to be, but that is moving in the positive direction. Like the 2 to 4 weeks for the IRB, and then 2 to 3 weeks for the NBC, National Bioethics Committee, and of course then a little more time for the DRAP. DRAP is even shrinking that time. And the good thing is that concurrent application is now doable thing, which is now you can have both NBC and DRAP applications submitted together. Previously it was not. So they're trying to come up with some ways to shrink the time. But still, it's a concern of most of the CTUs and of course CROs as well, that still the time which is being taken by the regulatory bodies is much more than what is required and where it should be. Investigational medicinal product import, those kind of government and other initiatives which are required to facilitate and support, that is also being taken care of. And then of course the collaboration of the international organizations like WHO is trying to do Wellcome Trust and IH Trust, and of course some sponsors like Roche, Sanofi, Aventis, and then some not-for-profit bodies too, like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and other foundations too, which are collaborating to help us in that. I already discussed this, that the low cost and one point which is there, that the relaxed duties and taxes by the government, and that is there, and so all these factors are pushing the shortening the timelines. If we look at the duplication time of the knowledge, we remember when we were students in 80s. I still recall one of my professor, senior professor SM Rub. I mean, he once explained in one of the lecture that the duplication time of the knowledge in medical sciences is 7 years. And we were shocked that how can somebody be abreast of all the information, but are you seeing here that now after 2020 the duplication time is almost 73 days. So knowledge is constantly evolving and developing, and we need to have a pace of our gathering that knowledge, and managing that knowledge, that is also required. And of course that is something crucial. And being the promoter of the landscape of clinical research in Pakistan, I put this as objective to understand the need for inquisitive minds, not research, not to just get some papers published in your name, or getting promotion, rather to be an inquisitive mind, and for the advancement of the medical education and bridging the knowledge and technology gaps. We remember that in our student life, the epidemiological triangle, which used to read and learn, host, environment, and the agent, right? But now the determinants of the diseases are and health are changing. Socioeconomic status and in lifestyle, and environment. I would quote, I mean, yesterday, day before yesterday, I saw the headline of one of the leading newspaper in Pakistan that almost 2 million consultations about the respiratory problems in Punjab alone. That was the recorded consultations. One day was averaging around 70,000 consultations about the respiratory problem. So environment, with all that smog and everything which is happening here in Pakistan, especially in the province of Punjab, but the environment, the healthcare accessibility, the lifestyle, all the time sitting with a screen, and our younger population. So these things are important now. They are the determinants of morbidities. Adapting to change, from preventing to from curative to preventive. That is the only way we probably can get into the uh, healthier environment and healthier situation. Relevance to future healthcare, where holistically, I mean, we had a good challenge by the COVID-19, and that taught us a lot. The humanity, COVID-19 taught us a lot, and a lot of things are now being done proactively. The emerging diseases, these are things which are for sure needs to be taken care of. Um, so the one important component is that the knowledge is advancing, but the technology is advancing at even a faster pace. So there is not a good link or sync between the generation of the knowledge and generation of the and then the development of the technology. That needs to be really looked into, and that gap needs to be bridged. That's an important consideration which all the academicians and people who are doing research should really be focusing on. And how we can do we bridge that gap is the cross disciplinary education, where everybody is engaged with most of the things, and of course encouraging collaboration between researchers and tech developers, so that the use of the technology can be best availed for the betterment of the humanity. And of course continuous professional development and continuous learning, that is something. And this is the model which I have evolved. I mean, my serious concerns is that three important components in this triad is knowledge is being generated, but it's not really managed very well. Similarly, the curricula, they are not really much in connection with the knowledge generation. They are dancing on their own beat, and there's no clear cut harmony between the healthcare delivery system and the knowledge generation and its management, and the curriculum in healthcare professional education. So this is something which all the seniors from all the disciplines, all these three disciplines, from the delivery people, healthcare delivery people, the ministry, and of course the true stakeholders, and the PMDC and the CPSP and other regulatory bodies of the health professional education people, and of course the research people. They need to sit together and have a kind of a steering committee whereby integration of these things should be done to bridge that really gap. We as most of the attendees of this webinar, I expect them to be the juniors, and a message from me after, at the age of 64, when you try to really, I mean, indoctrinate into the new upcoming medical breed of the students and then the junior professionals, that remember, education and literacy are two different things. Please, we only get literated. I mean, I can say that a person who's having two PhD degrees can be an uneducated person, because education is basically built with is ingrained with the learning, and learning is change in behavior. If we are unable to change the behavior, that means we are not getting educated, just getting literate. So this is important. All the new people, all the new students and immediate post graduates, they should be focusing on self-directed learning, whereby not examination directed learning or book directed learning or teacher directed learning or degree directed learning, rather to be an inquisitive person and start looking into the learning which is self-directed. One very important component is that many of the time the knowledge which is being generated, that is perished because that is not published. 85% of the research is washed without publication, costing almost 170 billion. That's what British Medical Journal says. So we need to have a culture whereby whatever knowledge is being generated needs to be published, and we need to find out mechanism how we probably can do that. Encouraging research with direct clinical and societal application is needed, because aurics are developed in many universities, almost all the universities now, but the office for the research innovation and corporatization and its commercialization, I mean, that is the application of the knowledge and of the research that is really missing. So aurics probably needs to look into, many aurics are taking care of the CTUs and clinical research sites of their respective medical universities. They need to look really into this as well, because whatever research is being happening, that needs to commercialize, that needs to innovatively contribute towards the betterment of the people, and emphasizing that a well-established clinical trial landscape is vital for translating knowledge and research into tangible and healthcare improvements. Now, before I move to NUMS, which my dear friend Dr. Uzair told me that NUMS is a really a very important institution in Pakistan, and a little introduction of that too is required. So for all my colleagues here who are part of this webinar, I would say the concept of multiversity is there. We just not need to have the teaching and learning didactic type. We need to have multi-sectorial, multi sites, from learning from the street, learning from the environment, learning from the peers. I mean, from wherever, and that's what we are seeing in upcoming and in forward-looking universities like National Institute of Medical Sciences, where the concept of multiversity is getting more and more, into the practice. Uh, the challenge is because the rigid curriculum are there for each specialty, and lack of the exposure of the critical thinking and limited research opportunities. People and students are encouraged to start thinking and then coming up with something really novel and positive. Um, um, Strategies for the development are integrating the problem-based learning, PBL and COM, at least in undergrad medical education that was there, introduced, but not much is practiced actually. That needs to be looked into, and emphasizing research needs and promoting lifelong mindset. Now I have completed my thing, and I have graduated, and I have found the job, and it's over. No, we need to have a constant, as I just mentioned you, that the duplication time for the medical knowledge growth is few days now. So we need to constantly look into it. The last segment of my this presentation is about the university which I'm engaged with right now as a humble member of the team. This was established in October 31st on 2015, and the President of Pakistan is the Chancellor, and COS, Chief Army Staff, is the Pro Chancellor. And we have extensive network of military hospitals and single specialty institutes and medical and dental and nursing colleges. Very important motto of understanding and improving life. All this is for understanding and improving life. Currently, and why I'm mentioning this, because in my earlier part as well, I mentioned that the infrastructure and institutional development is happening, and NUMS is a very good example. I recently joined this institution, and I was pleasantly surprised by the kind of workload these kind of places are getting, and the kind of technology they're practicing, and kind of services which they're offering. 45 hospitals nationwide under NUMS, and 11 million OPD nationwide under 15 specialists. And Rawalpindi alone, where I'm engaged with, 3.5 million patients annually. 3,000 plus beds are there at NUMS. And this slide explains the spread of the NUMS institutions. The red dots are the teaching hospitals, and the green dots are the medical colleges which are affiliated with this university. And you can see the constituent and affiliate colleges, the undergrad and postgrad institute, medical colleges, dental colleges, vet colleges, nursing colleges. And then there are 11 single specialty institutes too, and that's a beauty. I mean, if we go and see at the institutes like AFIC, AFIRI, I mean, FIM, lots of institutes which are Institute of Mental Health and mental diseases. So AFIP, Institute of Pathology. So there are independent institutes, 11 of them, which are catering some specific diseases. The matrix of excellence is depicted in this slide. If you see for 8,000 students, there are almost 1,500 plus faculty members. So 1:5.2 is a beautiful ratio. That reflects how much the focus is given to each individual student, which is and in the recent meeting which we had. The Pro Vice Chancellor Academics, he was talking about the counseling for selection of the entities and specialities which at undergrad level, where the students will be in fact finding and aligning their targets and their ultimate professional achievement goals. So that's what it is. There are lots of undergraduate programs, postgraduate programs, and as I told you, the medical and dental and nursing and vet colleges. There are some centers of excellence as well. A good example. I mean, I remember in just 3.5 to 4 months, uh, the commitment of the university was such that, and the top hierarchy of the university was such that when we just started our CTU, the preparations were made for about a couple of years, but actively we are for last for 4 months. A big success is there. We just got signed clinical trial agreements with couple of national and international sponsors, and 3 4 are in line. I anticipate that in first 6 months we'll be having good 4 5 protocols. So when the hierarchy of the institution is engaging the all the heads of the departments, and how we did was that uh, all the departmental heads were called, and they were briefed with the objectives of the clinical trial unit, which is part of the NIASR, led by Jan Salim Ahmed. That basically that gathering discussed the methodology, and then how we probably can get all these coming patients into the clinical research practices. um, we are trying to come up with a portfolio whereby every department is coming up with their workload, OPDs, bed sizes, and what procedure they're doing, and their research, what they have already done. So a very rich uh, capacities availability of the gadgets and instruments, trained faculty, and of course the large number of patients, treatment naive patients population, and of course a specialty patient population as well. So that is the CTU of NUMS is over 3,000 square feet space, and it is equipped with all the required equipment, whatever is required there to conduct any kind of trial. We do have specialized staff with us, and we are offering all the services which any modern or specialized clinical trial unit can offer. We are approved for the phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4 clinical trials, and have the capacity and capability to do some epidemiological and other studies too. We 4 or 5 observational protocols studies are also from within the institution are coming up. The protocols are under discussion now, and hopefully we'll be shortly starting the implementation of those protocols as well. Uh, all the required people will be that the phlebotomists or research coordinators or the epidemiologists or the doctors or the research coordinators. Uh, it is equipped with whatever physical infrastructure and whatever human resource and whatever equipment is required. Completely filled. And recently in the site qualification visit by an international CRO and by the local CRO, both they were really delighted to see the preparations which are there at the CTU. So at the conclusion, what I would say that efficient and cost-effective partnership. What we are trying to do with all the CROs which are working in Pakistan, be that national or international, and we would like to be in the south a good hub for the clinical trials. We do have regulatory compliance and data integrity things addressed very effectively, and of course the comprehensive support and quality assurance on part of the about the trials and the commitments to the excellence. Um, this is my last slide, and for my all my junior colleagues, that we have two choices. I mean, either you can be an inquisitive learner, thinker with curiosity stuffed in your mind, and you're thinking and exploring and trying to learn, or the other other picture, which is self-explanatory. I need not to explain. The choice is yours. With that, I would thank you, the APPNA MERIT team, its leadership, a commendable job they're doing, sustainably doing for years now, and all the quality programs, all the quality presentations. I really appreciate your listening. And now the floor is open for comments or questions or whatever. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Powerkhan. This was an excellent presentation. And I can definitely see from the enthusiasm from the participants that this is very well received. We'll have few comments from our panelists, and then we'll try to take as many questions as we can in the limited time that we have. So I hand it over to Dr. Zed. Please have his comment, and then Dr.
Uh, Thank you very much, Dr. Sarfraz, and thanks a lot, Dr. Babur Khan. I am really highly thankful to you and greatly obliged for giving such a wonderful presentation, because there are many things which were quite unknown to most of us even after 3 years, which you have highlighted. And very updated data. And I always has a desire to know more about National University of Medical Sciences, because now it has been like 9 years that they started back in 2015. And I was wishing and praying that this institute should take the lead in the north part of Pakistan. In the south, we do have the Aga Khan University Hospital. So thank you very much again. So I have a couple of question and comment from you. The first one is that, now we are ready. We have the infrastructure, we have the trained people, we have the, all things which you can wish for. So what are the weakest link? Like, can we pinpoint, like could it be the data analysis, could it be the data protection, or the quality of data, or the quality of the trial supervision? So what is the weakest thing, and in order of importance, based your based on your experience, how will you categorize them? One, two, three. That is the one thing. And second thing is, how can we showcase now Pakistan as a destination for clinical research to the global faculty, to the global CROs, to the global players with this population base, with this type of disease pattern? So there is opportunity everywhere. So these are the two things I would like to know and learn from you for the all the participants. Yes, please.
So thank you very much. A very pertinent question about the weak points which you were talking about. I mean, when I started working here about clinical research in Pakistan, with my long after my long stay there at the US, uh, I started calling people, my acquaintances, my friends, my colleagues, international colleagues, and they didn't know anything about it. I mean, honestly speaking, when I remember, one of the persons said, "Doc, you don't even have electricity at your places." I said, I mean, that's the kind of impression which is there with the people who make decisions about putting clinical research here in Pakistan. So many of them are not really very clear that they don't know that what kind of capacities we do have and what are the strengths we do have. Because up till now, no one, I won't say no one, but I mean the optimal efforts have not been put in to make people aware that we do have good and great facilities and good prospects for the clinical research. So that is the topmost thing which I feel that is really important. Uh, some people say, "Jungle mein mor nacha kisne dekha." I mean, I am the only word which I, because this really fikra explains what actually the feeling is. Not many people knew that. That's the one thing. That the top thing. We need to disseminate this information, and I'll explain it more in the second part of your question. The second weak link is still the non-congruence, and we don't harmonize together. All the stakeholders in clinical research, uh, CTUs only see the part which is important for the CTUs. They don't see the part which is important part of the sponsors or on part of the regulators. So they just focus on their thing, and same is the case with the regulators and with the sponsors and CROs and pharma companies both, even investigator-initiated trials. Now, what is required? The solution is that, I mean, kind of a steering committee. I mean, which is having a representation of all the stakeholders, be the regulators and of course the sponsors and the CTUs and clinical research sites too, and academia too, so that, I mean, a common understanding and then common identification of the main problems and then coming up with the solutions of those problems. So these were the weak points which I strongly feel. And the third weak point is that we have seen a growth of the institutions which are offering certifications in clinical research. But I mean, please allow me to say, except a few, most of them are not the quality product. So what we need is basically the quality training, which tell you and all the participants that Pakistan now is the ACRP Ambassadors Club. The only two ACRP Ambassadors Club in the world, Japan and Pakistan. And we really worked hard for almost 17, 18 months to get that status. And now I'll be sharing in all the groups which we have for about the clinical research, that how they can get the quality training to get them, abreast with the recent knowledge and the true certifications which are acceptable everywhere in the world. So that was the first part of your question, and the second part is that about the how we can promote internationally. Um, uh, I'm pleased to inform and announce and let you all guys know that NUMS, the university in North, and AKU, the university in South. We both are co-hosting a national summit, a clinical trial summit of Pakistan, CTSP, which is basically planned for 17th and 18th of February 2025. Pre-conference symposiums will be happening at the NUMS in Islamabad, at the NUMS premises, with international. WHO will be there, ACRP will be there, lots of good, seasoned, experienced investigators will be there from West and from even Southeast Asia as well. And plus there'll be all stakeholders together in that particular conference, and we will be launching the clinical research landscape document, which was initiated by BMY Health, Dr. Bushra and Patel, and of course you and APPNA MERIT was instrumentally involved in that. And as now you're aware that we're trying to have that document made an annual appearance. Like every year we'll be having a kind of a report, and that document will be reflecting the Pakistan's picture, the landscape of clinical research, and that will be dispatched thoroughly to all the stakeholders in international at international level. I am expecting the chair of the ACRP in person to be here for this conference, and a lot of other, at least 8-10 international good decision makers will be here, and that will carry the message to the world and internationalize our efforts, so that we can have more and more success of clinical research in Pakistan, which is for sure a very good breeding ground for the clinical research. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you. So may I request Dr. Akhtar to take some of the question in the QA box and coordinate with Dr. Babar these questions.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Babar, for kind of giving us new information from NUMS, or the information which we were looking in the past wasn't there, especially when you mentioned about the clinical, the shift towards the developing countries. And you have mentioned a lot of things like including the cost effectiveness, recruitment easiness, and market expansion, and broader diversity. The one thing was pleasantly surprised me is the flexibility of the regulatory authorities, which I have been in the past very critical, because even the trials we tried to take from this part of the world to Pakistan, they were taking months and months, or even sometime over a year. And now you're mentioning about the DRAP is going to make some decision within 8 to 10 weeks, which is very pleasantly surprised to me. But if it is the case, then it will help us in terms of bringing some trials and for more advocacy to our counterparts or our colleagues here, that we can be more cost effective and we can still have a quality research can be conducted. So thank you for enlightening us from some information you have given. And there is a question here from, it's a bit long, they have said, but I will go for the small one. How is the data collected in these CTUs through registries, and are there EMR, I mean, electronic medical record, is there in NUMS or not? Asked by Hassan Saeed Mohammed.
Well, I mean, there are some limitations of data for sure, and because secrecy of the data, and of course, I mean, HIPAA, we all understand that very, very well, and there's some other considerations as well. So, in NUMS, if you're specifically talking about, we have three kinds of patient population. One is the uniformed people, which make 15 to 18% of the total patient population, and then the families, and then of course the civilian non-entitled patients. Most of the patients are civilian non-entitled, because and all the government, this is now the NUMS institutions are now the declared places for all the government offices too. So all the federal government employees, they are coming here too. So lots of patients which are of course, I mean, eligible patients for getting enrolled in the clinical trials. About your concern with the DRAP, I'm sure some of my friends, close friends, they might not be liking the way I said some good words about rap. I tell you one thing. I believe in looking for the common denominators. There's some very good people in rap I personally know, and they are trying hard to really come up with solutions. And then the meeting which I mentioned to you, there was straight fire on rap. At times, people were really throwing any tough questions, and they amicably answered those questions and noted. And I'm seeing now when I'm meeting the people in the rap, they're coming up with some solutions as well. Yes, of course, the governance issue in Pakistan, that is something we all, I need not to say anything about it. We all know that how that, especially the regulators, that is there. But I mean, a journey of 1,000 miles started the first step. I feel that first step is already there, and more steps to follow.
Okay.
Now,
So I
another
think,
question.
sorry, Dr. Abdul, I think we are like 2 minutes over our time. I don't know, maybe there's a chance for one more question, perhaps.
Yeah, I can bundle 2-3 questions together from Osama, Khalid, and I think Dr. Huma. They are mentioning that plagiarism is a big issue. I think it's around the world now, especially after ChatGPT and even before that. And do we have a pool of trained people, or trained doctor, or trained clinician, or trained trainers who can, are they ready to embark on any particular trial if it comes to Pakistan? I mean, what is the benchmark that we can follow, or we can find that how we can start such project if needed be? Because sometimes facilities are not, it is important, but not very important if you don't have a trained staff to run this trial.
As I mentioned in the middle part of my presentation, that the advancement in the technology and the advancement in the knowledge, there's a mismatch for sure. I mean, technologies is going fast, especially in the wake of AI and in big data thing. I mean, now the diagnostics, I mean, the machine is diagnosing things. But again, I tell you, the validation needs to be done by the clinician, by the human resource, by the people who are trained, because machine is not the answer of every question. Yes, for sure, it's facilitating a lot, but that is the validation needs to be done by the people. So anyone who is understanding, and that's what my focus was for the juniors, that be an inquisitive learner and try to find out how, what, when, all the H and W words. They need to look into that, and they'll find themselves. Nowadays, it should be self-directed learning, which I also pointed out during my presentation. That, I mean, don't just focus on what book says and what somebody's saying. Try to find out the solution, and then application of that particular knowledge which you have really, I mean, identified or recognized or have gained. So this is nowadays, no one answer is satisfying every individual, because every individual, it needs their customized. Even we know that the precision medicine is there. The medicine is now being tailored and customized. Medical boutiques are there now for specific treatments. So we need to really be an inquisitive learner and try to find out. We have tremendous amount of information and knowledge is
So
available.
just a quick two
Thank you.
comments,
And with the,
Dr. Sarfraz,
sorry.
just before we close. Let me share with all of you one quick thing, that the representative from the draft has also participated in today's webinar. So the message is being delivered and heard. So I'm so happy, because there is a recent change. Mr. Abdullah has taken as a director pharmacy services. So that is the recent change, number one. And number two, there is something which is really hidden, and we need to develop the local clinical trials, which mean we have a huge pharmaceutical industry local, but there is no trial or hardly any trial which is coming. And has been pointed out by Professor Zulfikar Bhutta right now in the chat box, that the regulator should make it a point to validate the drug usage on the local population based on the local study, which is very much missing in Pakistan. And it can happen with the regulation. Even we are launching the biosimilar molecules, which are quite different, but there is no local data available to that. So my apology to all of you. I took a little bit more time, and particularly to Dr. Sarfraz for extending the session. Now over
Yeah.
to Dr. Sarfraz for formal close. Thank you.
All right.
And we are
Okay.
looking forward to attend this meeting if possible, if invitation is coming for February, your conference.
17, 18.
I'm sure
Yes.
Dr. Uzair would also looking forward to come.
Thank you. Yes, Sarfraz, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much. So again, a huge thanks to Dr. Babar Khan for taking time out of his busy schedule, and for all the participants attended. This is very well attended webinar, and for our panelists, Dr. Zaid and Dr. Hamid, for their comments, and of course, last but not least, Walid and his team for their technical support to make sure that these webinars are conducted seamlessly. So there's a lot of work that goes behind the scene to conduct this. So a big thanks to all of them. So again, thank you, Dr. Babar Khan, and inshallah, we will have another webinar in 2 weeks, same place, same time. And we look forward to for all of you to attend this and to share the knowledge and have meaningful discussions to move forward. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much.